ES Audio.
Hello, I'm Mark Blunden, and this is the Evening Standard's Tech and Science Daily. Coming up, would you date ChatGPT if it had a human face? But first, how dangerous are all those driverless cars planned for our roads in the not-too-distant future? Well, some results are in from one trial by Alphabet-owned Waymo, and the stats on crashes and prangs are pretty interesting. In over 1 million miles of tests around Phoenix and San Francisco, the company reports their cars were involved in 2 crashes reported to police and 18 what it calls minor contact events. Waymo's blaming other drivers for much of the damage to their EVs, but it does raise an interesting dilemma. How do you swap insurance details with a piece of software? Now, a study suggesting people with healthier hearts in their middle age could live longer and not suffer conditions including cancer and dementia. Research by Tulane University in New Orleans found 50-year-old women scoring highest on a heart health scale lived nearly a decade longer than those at the lowest end, while men had a 7-year difference. Heart health in the study was rated on metrics including diet, physical activity, smoking, sleep, body mass index and cholesterol. Scientists used data from 135,000 Britons whose metrics are contained in the UK Biobank database. Next.
Welcome to London Heathrow, Mrs. Martin.
That's the artificial voice of a real-time chatbot, but with a human face. Software developer DID has fused ChatGPT AI technology we've all been hearing about with high-def animation in an attempt to humanize it.
What we want to do is kind of put a face onto ChatGPT and allow people to kind of talk to it in a natural way, ask it questions using their voice and get an answer, from a face as well. Give it a face and allow it to talk, basically.
That's DID's Vice President, Matthew Kershaw.
Anything where you can talk interactively, a game show host, there might be, developers might want to put dating apps around it, things that might help you manage your time, like a personal assistant. We think this could be used for, in the longer term, even sort of virtual lawyers, virtual doctors.
And he went on to talk about the software's latency. That's the speed at which it can field questions.
We're looking at kind of a delay of it is a couple of seconds, 2 to 3, 4 seconds, a little bit depending on the complexity of the question. Yeah, and that keeps it kind of close enough to a real conversation, we think. And that's one of the real critical things that we're, over time we will hone that further and further down.
May we wish you a most pleasant flight.
More on ChatGPT, and while it might work well in airports, crochet fans are up in arms about the quality of its responses. The Guardian reports its attempts to create decent crochet patterns are cursed after TikTok users tried to get ChatGPT to come up with some pretty straightforward designs. Crochet aficionado Alexandra Woolner tasked the software with designing a narwhal, that's the majestic tusked Arctic whale, and was initially impressed by the step-by-step patterns that it generated. But Woolner reports the result was an abomination when the pattern was followed, which Tech and Science Daily can best describe as a fat blue toy plane with a white onion on top. Next. A father of 3 has filed a complaint against YouTube for allegedly harvesting data on children's viewing habits in breach of the Information Commissioner's Office rules to protect youngsters. Data rights campaigner Duncan McCann says he's taking on the video platform for allegedly breaching the Children's Code on Age-Appropriate Design, which was introduced in 2021. YouTube says it's brought in new data practices for children's content and is providing more age-appropriate experiences. Let's go to the ads. Stay there for more news from the world of tech and science. Plus, Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok lead Bafta Game of the Year nominations. And the struggles of telling time on the moon. Why not hit follow in the meantime? Welcome back. Drum roll, please. Because the 6 nominees for Game of the Year have been announced, and it's the only category at the Bafta Games Awards to be voted for by the public.
In search
And in no particular order, they are Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality, Marvel Snap, and Stray. The shortlist was decided by a panel of experts, and if you want to place your vote, you can do so via the sponsor website of a certain mobile phone company. Last year, the victor was Unpacking. That's Nintendo's cutesy block fitting and home decoration puzzle game that saw off the likes of Metroid Dread. Now, a study is suggesting taking vitamin D supplements may help fight dementia. Researchers at the University of Calgary's Hotchkiss Brain Institute in Canada and the University of Exeter here in the UK examined links between vitamin D supplements and dementia in more than 12,000 participants from the US National Alzheimer's Coordinating Centre. Had an average age of 71 when signing up, and 37% of the group took vitamin D supplements. The study found in the group taking vitamin D, there was a 40% lower amount of dementia diagnosis compared to those who didn't. And finally, it's the question only really astronauts need to worry about, but what time is it on the moon? Now, the European Space Agency is campaigning for a common lunar reference time, which could also help future American and Chinese missions when astronauts and taikonauts get boots on the lunar surface. Technical hurdles include the fact that clocks actually run faster on the moon than on Earth and gain 56 microseconds daily due to gravitational field differences. You're up to date. Come back at 4 p.m. for the Leader podcast, bringing you the latest news, interviews and analysis from the Evening Standard here in London. And we'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. See you then.